another powerful way that we can get active, because we know that the other side, the Democrats, they, when it comes to these polling locations, they're there. And we need to see more of us there to know what's going on. And if we don't have election integrity, we don't have anything. And if we lose our election integrity, ultimately we're going to lose our country. And so I feel like God has put it in our hands. He's given us the responsibility. The reason why I know he's given us the responsibility is because we know what's going on. And so it's going to be up to us to try and help fix it. So without further ado, I want to introduce Mr. Jeff Zink.
We did meet on J6, and we hit it off. We're brother and sister from another mother, but that's the way we are in America. Contrary to popular belief that we're supposed to not get along as a male or female, as black, white, everything segregated. That's not the way we are. And we are a melting pot. We believe in everybody, and I want everybody's success. So, one of the things that I'm doing is I'm actually running for Congress in CD7 against a America Last Agenda Democrat. He has, for third straight year in a row, according to the JBS organization, John Birch Society, if you aren't familiar with it, he's voted 0 for the Constitution 3 years in a row. Okay? So, one of the things is, who am I? Well, I have a bachelor's degree in kinesiology. I have a master's in physiology and sports medicine. I'm also an ordained minister. So, one of the things is that if you do not want the vaccine, let me know. I can provide a religious exemption for you, and I can sign it because I am an ordained minister, and I do that absolutely free. I was a strength and conditioning specialist, 35 years in sports medicine. I owned my own business for 10 years, university professor for 8. That's something there. And so now I'm considered an expert in the Arizona audit. An expert is that I qualify because I'm 50 miles away from home and I have a briefcase somewhere around here. There it is. And that's what makes me an expert. So what I want y'all to do is I don't want you to take my word for this. I need y'all to do your own research. Make sure that what I'm telling you is open, honest, and trustworthy. Okay? Now, when people do that, they expect people to actually look at it. You can also find me at jeffzink4congress.com, and you can follow that as well. So, what did I do? I actually worked with Ken Bennett and Randy Pullman there, and I was a deputy liaison for those two, and I worked in doing that. One of the things is that all of these people here, they got vetted through me and my group there, and the thing is that with this here, all of these people started out as the orange shirt, which is what I'm wearing right there. They all started as the orange shirt and then went to the other different colors, which was our Lazy Susan, where we counted the ballots themselves, to the forensic audit, where we actually had high-powered microscopes that actually was able to take a look at some of the things that we're going to be looking at here today. So one of the things is that I did all of the scheduling for the morning, the afternoon, the late shift, and then the really late shift. To kind of give you an idea, the last 4 days of the audit was extremely hard on me because I was there 24/7 for 4 days. I did not sleep for 4 days. I was the first one, last out candidate. I will tell you that I'm the only congressional candidate that worked this audit. Okay? 20 hours a day, first in, last out, And it was not just for my campaign, but it's for every campaign across the United States, because if we don't look at what was going on. You know, when I said that I met Oshawa on day 6, I had a thought that something happened that removed our president from his rightful place. I will tell you right now, I know it was stolen for a fact. One of the things that's in my position, I never touched a ballot or a box. I observed, and I was over the observers, so that there's no influence whatsoever. I was never able to touch a ballot, to influence, change a vote, do all those things that everybody would be accusing me of. That didn't happen because I was never allowed to touch anything. I just observed. This is the other place that we got out of when they moved us from the arena. They put us into this barn, and it was amazing that the air conditioning didn't work. The average temperature in there was plus 95. The coolest it got was about 92. So that's what we had to work with, and that was the area, and this is where we finished up our audit. So one of the things that I want us to do, I start with the plan. One of the things that everybody asks us is, well, what do we do? Well, before I even start telling you what happened, I need y'all to understand we've got to put a plan into place first. Okay? If you're not a precinct committeeman, you need to become one. Okay? That's the ground floor. Here's the thing. I just completed the PC training to train PCs. When I'm elected as a congressman, guess what I'm going to do for my LDs? I'm going to come back and I'm going to have a room just like this that have all brand new PCs, and I'm going to teach you all what y'all are supposed to do and what I'm doing as a PC right now. The thing is that it needs to be this close from your congressman to a precinct committeeman, and we need to start making our congressmen and our senators adhere to what we want, not what they want. They don't dictate to us, we dictate to them, and we need to establish that, and that starts now. Okay? Now, do we have any GOP representatives at all here? One. What are you?
Precinct chair.
You're precinct chair for Collin County. Okay?
Thank you.
Precinct chair, and I'm on SREC.
All right. So, if you have any questions, these two people are ones that are going to be able to answer questions here. The rules and regulations for Texas are a little bit different than they will be for Arizona. Here's the thing. Do we have one presidential election? We have 50. There's 50 states that elect their president, and then the Electoral College is what then elects our president. And we need to understand that because we just went through a congressional hearing, and every Democrat kept saying we need to go to popular vote, we need to go to popular vote. What does that mean? That means that 2 states, only 2, will control everything that happens. California and New York, and that's it. We're done. They have the most population, and the way those 2 vote, that's the way they go. We already know we have an issue because in Arizona, Maricopa County is the 4th largest county in the country. It has 64% of the voting that takes place there. So the way Maricopa County votes, that's the way that state goes. So that's one of the things that we need to do. Committeemen are people who help vet the candidates and support those candidates. I would love to say that my favorite ice cream is chocolate, but I live in a 1-story house that has no basement. And that was the qualifications that we elected a president for. We need to make sure that our questions in the future are a lot harder than that. What do you believe? Well, one of the things is that I have little feet on my lapel. I took my jacket off because it's a little hot. Now, one of the things is that as a Republican, I believe in free choice until conception. Once that baby is conceived, then that child is protected and has every right that everybody else has. And y'all have got a great start of where y'all are headed. See, in Arizona, they don't. They don't have that. So we need to sit down and we need to look at what we're doing. You need to run for your school boards. Yes, ma'am.
Quick question. I took the precinct chair training. Dan Schultz, was talking all about it. But mine is already occupied. So I did take the training. I'm doing other stuff for the election. But what's the difference with precinct chair and precinct committee?
Well, okay, so let our precinct chair answer that.
I've got no earthly idea because people don't talk about precinct committee. We have precinct chairs. I've never, ever had anyone.
Okay, so in Arizona, the grassroots are precinct committeemen. We have a precinct chair that is the chair of the legislative district that houses the precinct committeemen that are inside that legislative district. That's what is in Arizona. It may be different here in Texas.
Our precinct chairs are organized into HDs. And there's an HD chair who would be similar to your precinct chair.
Okay, so HC chairs are what would be here.
What's it
Okay,
called?
all right.
HD.
HD, okay. Right.
Thank you for going through that training, so you're informed. I'm also a precinct chair, and I would love to have people that were informed to help me get the word out in my precinct. Because in mine, we have about 1,700 voters, and I need block captains and anybody to help get the word out. It would be excellent.
Absolutely.
In our precinct.
Contact the chair, say you want to help.
I'm in Crowley, outside of Crowley.
So one of the great things about this is bringing a group like this. You're able to start getting information. Get everybody's name, get everybody's email, get everybody's phone number. Okay? Start communicating to each other. All right? It took a congressional candidate from Arizona to get y'all here. Take advantage of it. Okay? Get everybody's phone number and emails and everything, and that way y'all can start doing this. One of the other things is county positions. Any county position. Here's one of the aggravating things that I have in my own LD and LD 27. We have an open seat for the state senate. It's going to run unopposed to a Democrat. What are we doing? What are we thinking? And I'm trying so hard. And they're like, well, you run. I can't. I'm running for Congress. I'm at the federal level. I need somebody at the state level. I need somebody to get in. So if not who, or if not you, then who, right? So it comes down to find somebody, vet them out, and make sure what's going on. Contact your state and House representatives. Blow up their phones. Guess what? It's okay to call the House and the Senate in Arizona and say, you're messing up my election here in Texas. Okay? And trust me, I've got several senators and stuff that I know personally, and they're already going, man, we have to do you on the road because our phones are starting to blow up. Contact your federal, okay? Who is your congressman here? Who is it? It's who? Lance Goodman.
Lance Goodman, Colin Allred.
Goodman. Okay. So you know who that is. Well, we also have two senators, right? Okay. All right. So one of the things that we need to do is we need to be able to have their phone numbers and their emails so that at any time on your cell phone you can call them or you can email them immediately once you find what is going on. Now, I made the statement that I had gone to J6 in Washington, D.C., and that was to support our president. One of the things that happened was an insurrection. However, nobody's been charged with insurrection. And so it started leading to a lot of other things that took place. One of the things that we need to do and start thinking about right here is watermarks. Mark Fincham has introduced this into the Arizona legislature. You need to start looking at your also your state senate and your House of Representatives and maybe look at this. It only lights up under UV light.
We have that $60.
So one of the things that we can look at is we can have that. It's just in the regular light, it's just a clear ballot. Put it in UV, lights up just like this. It's something that's really easy and it can't be forged. One of the things that's really tough is that, and we're going to go through this here in just a second. These are the bad actors. This is the Board of Supervisors. These are the guys that constantly stopped the audit. They continually blocked it every time. They wouldn't give us the ballots. They wouldn't give us the spunk alarms. They wouldn't give us the routers. They wouldn't give us the Dominion machines. They had subpoenas. They took us to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court said that you have to comply. And the thing is that the Senate has the right to audit an election in Arizona. Here, I think it's the House that has the right to force the issue. So, and it's different for each state and stuff. Now, here's the thing. How many people know that Steve Chicory, here on the very end, has resigned? Y'all heard that? And one person knew about this. He resigned. Guess what? We got him on recording. He was trashing Dominion. He was saying how awful it was and that they absolutely knew that it would change an election the way that they needed it done or the way they wanted it done and everything else. We held on to that conversation and then released it about a month and a half ago, and he's already resigned. I got news for you people. We got more of those from other people, and they're going to be rolling out.
If he's on the opposing team, why would he be badmouthing the Dominion software?
Because he was what he thought was trusted friends. The only thing is those trusted friends are patriots. We're not rhinos. We're not somebody who's going to say one thing in a closed room and then do something else out in public. And that's what he did. He told us in confidence that this was bad, and y'all can look it up. It's out there on the internet. Y'all go and look that up. Steve Chicory there, and he's resigned. And so those are things that, and you can listen for yourself what he said and stuff. Okay?
And this vice chairman, he just happens to have the same name as Bill Gates.
Yeah. So, and Bill Gates was one that also testified at the congressional hearing in Washington, D.C., along with Jack Sellers, the chairman up there at the top. Okay? They basically testified and they lied before Congress. Okay? Completely lied. And this is the same guys that also said that this was the safest, most secure election in history. Okay? Nothing, any problems whatsoever.
Okay, so just out of curiosity, that's not my mistake. What is their motive?
What is their motive?
Are they in?
No, actually, 4 of them were Republicans and 1 of them's a Democrat.
So has somebody done a deep dive into their finances?
Oh, we have. And the thing is that I can't say that they're corrupt, but if it looks like a duck, it acts like a duck, it walks like one, quacks like one, and water runs off its back, it's probably a duck. Okay?
Which one had the building that burned with?
That's it, Hickman. So up there in the corner. So, so these are things here. So this guy was a Democrat. Adrian Fontes, he was the county recorder. He's the one that actually put the laws into place, which created all of the loopholes which caused our problem. And so what we needed to do is we needed to sit down and take a look at it. Well, guess what? Steve Richard gets elected. He's a Republican. What does he do? He doesn't do a thing. He just keeps everything the same and doesn't do anything at all. This is Katie Hobbs, our Secretary of State. She's one who certified the election that was uncertifiable. And we'll get into that here in just a second, as I can show you, because by the time it's all said and done, you'll know what I know. And this is Doug Ducey, our governor, who also certified an election that was uncertifiable. This is Karen Fann. She's the president of the Senate. She's the one that oversaw what had taken place. If you get a chance, please look her up. Please write her an email. Please tell her thank you for doing what you did. It took so much courage to do what she did. Okay? And I tell her every time I see her that I'm just one, but I represent tens of thousands of people. And now what I can do when I get done with this tour of 6 states that are going now to possibly 8, that I will represent hundreds of thousands of people now. So she did a wonderful job. Sonny Borelli, Gunny, Marine. He doesn't take any crap off anybody. And he's ready to take names and do all the other things there. He is so mad about what's going on. And he promised all of us that we gave him the evidence. This is how bad it was. We were right in the middle of it. He pulls me off. We have the movie Deep Rig. If y'all haven't seen it, you need to see it. Pulls me up. We had the premiere. I was with Patrick Byrne and several of the other people and talking with them and stuff. He pulls me all the way up by myself. He goes, Jeff, I know you can't tell me because you're under an NDA, but can you give me any hope whatsoever? Have we wasted our time? Have we wasted everybody's effort and stuff? And I said, nope. I said, you keep doing it. We're going to present you with some evidence that you're going to be able to take with. He goes, that's all I need to know. Here's the other one. Wendy Rogers, another first female combat fighter, jet fighter, and she is a fierce competitor. Very, very wonderful lady and stuff. And so she's one that is also on the front lines and fighting. Now, here's the thing. Before the audit ever started, we were faced with lawsuits on a regular basis. How many know that there were Obama and Soros attorneys that were in Phoenix? Okay, got 2, 3. Okay, that's several. How many? Do you know how many?
Like 50 or 60. What's the something, right?
There were 77 attorneys filing 5 to 10 a day. And it was so much that it would be on each word that was submitted in there. See, the thing is that the Democrats have an unlimited money source. The Republicans do not. And so for myself, that's one of the reasons why I have to be a sniper. I can't be just somebody who goes out and just tries to do what they do, because they'll outspend me in my congressional run, 100 to 1.
Yes, filing 5 to 10 injunctions or what?
That and anything else that they could come up with. The thing is that the attorneys that are being represented of them come from very large law groups. They're well funded. Yep, is one of them. And the thing is that they go in and they go up against our young, just out of college, out of law school, and everything, and that's who we pay them. We don't have their unlimited pockets.
Right, Obama and Soros attorneys, they were paying for the bill.
They foot the bill. Okay? questions that everybody asks. Why can you not tell us after the audit was done who won? Was it Biden? Was it Trump? I can tell you 100% sure. I can't tell you. It's uncertifiable. See, the problem is that it was like Forrest Gump every time. Life's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. That's exactly what happened when they opened up those boxes. We never knew what was going to happen when we opened it up. First and foremost, they were not secure. There was no chain of custody. Okay? So let's look at what chain of custody is. Chain of custody is if there's a murder scene right here, and we have a gun and a bullet and a body and everything, we need to secure that evidence. Then we're going to take that gun and we're going to put it in a bag. Whoever put it in that bag has to sign on it, right? Then when they turn it over to somebody else who's going to take it to the laboratory, they've got to sign for each one. There has to be an account for every person who comes in contact with that box and those ballots, right? There was zero chain of custody that was handed to us from the Board of Supervisors. Zero. Chain of custody with all of our ballots started the second that those ballots entered into our possession. When Randy and Ken signed for those boxes, those pallets and boxes and everything else, then every time somebody touched the box, their name had to go on a piece of paper. Every time that box was opened up and dumped out and all of those ballots were going to be touched by somebody, that name went on who touched them. It even told them from the time that they started to the time that they ended. From the time that they completed the box to the time it was sealed and then taken back to the cage. Every step of everything that took place in our possession, we have 100% chain of custody that we can tell them. Here's the other thing. We gave them back cleaner boxes because several times that we'd open them up, we'd open it up and there'd be trash in with the ballots.
Like Snickers wrappers?
Snickers, a water bottle, stuff that had been crumpled up, just thrown in there. They didn't think that they'd ever be open. They've never been opened before. Why would they think that they're going to be open now?
Okay, in Texas, I've watched forever, and we've got a huge process. All sorts of signatures and just tag. Is there not a statute in Arizona that requires this, or do they ignore statute?
They ignored it. Okay, so they didn't follow the law, and then they created law through Fontes and through Richard, and then through Katie Hobbs and stuff. Because see, here's the thing that would happen: the Democrats tricked the Republicans. Surprise, surprise. They said, well, let's just go out of session so we can get the laws started. What they didn't realize is that they side-eyed. Side-eyed means that they leave and you can't come back into session unless it's a special session, and the only one that can call that is our governor. Guess what? Doug Ducey never called them back into special session, even though all the people in Arizona started screaming, going, wait a minute, hold on, this is not what we want. What y'all are doing is illegal, and he didn't do it. Okay? So, what did they not do? Well, part of this is that they had systematic policy breaches that, again, made this uncertifiable. Now, I'm going to be very clear in the way that I am talking, because the Arizona Constitution does not allow Arizona to decertify an election. It can't be decertified. However, if we do an audit and we find something that is that rises to the level that there is a possibility of fraud, then we have to turn that over to the AG, Mark Brnovich, and he has to then investigate it. If it does rise to the level of fraud, then our Constitution says we can nullify our election as it never happened. Now that's the difference, and that's what people have to understand. So when they hear we need to decertify, they're not doing what is constitutional. Because here's the thing, people, we do not live in a democracy. You need to understand this is not a democracy. It is not the rule of people. This is a republic. It is the rule of law. And there's a huge difference. What our founding fathers handed us was a republic. And Benjamin Franklin was asked when he came out, after they signed the Constitution and everything else, what did you give us? Did you give us a democracy or a republic? And what he stated is that this is a republic if you can keep it. Okay? Right now, the way that this sets right now, we will not keep this nation if we don't have people like you that start to understand what's taking place. We also had maladministration. Katie Hobbs, Adrian Fontes, Steve Richard, Doug Ducey, all. The reason why they're not going to be compliant, because this is a coup d'etat. This is a treasonous act, and when we prove that they have done something against the will of the people, they die for this. That's on us. If we are the ones that enforce it, we the people are in charge, not our federal government. I'm running for the weakest position that you can run for. It's territorial. Here's the other thing, surprise, surprise. They said that there was about 1 million people that went into Arizona. Wasn't that? Guess what? We didn't get a 10th district. So we still have our 9. Guess what they're having problems with now in the redistricting? They can't, because see, each congressman is supposed to represent 700,000. Guess what we're going to be representing? A little over 800,000 times 9. We needed another one. The numbers are not lying. So now what they're doing is they're finding out that their lies, again, are y'all seeing a pattern here of what's going on, the lies that are going on, and then all of a sudden fact gets in the way, truth gets in the way. It's really a bad thing. Okay? Yes, sir.
What is you mentioned 1 million count, and then you went back and mentioned 700,000, 800,000.
Okay.
There is a pivotal point we're making on this.
Okay, the pivotal point is that each congressman is supposed to be representing 700,000 people. Right now, in the 9 districts, they're going to be a little over 800,000 is going to be the deal. If you take 100,000, a little over 100,000, you add it up, it's very close to 1 million people, which is what we said we had. But the other problem is that we have had that just this year in illegal crossings from the border. I think y'all also had the same problem here in Texas, right? Okay, so where are those going? Yes, sir.
You're saying they mess with the census? Is that the problem?
And you're surprised?
No, but
Okay,
so
so
you're saying that the 2020 census didn't get an accurate count?
didn't get an accurate account. It's exactly right. Yes, ma'am.
So, I think what you just said a moment ago about the election, you said it could not be decertified, that it's in the hands of your Attorney General right now?
Correct.
And so he has to nullify the election?
No, he has to find fraud. See, the only thing is that the Senate has found that it's uncertifiable, that we have uncertifiable ballots, and that we have nefarious things that have happened with those ballots. I still haven't got to that yet. I'm still trying to lay the groundwork so y'all understand how we got to where we're getting right now.
Do you trust your Attorney General to do his job?
He is running for Senate. He's 47 points ahead of everybody. Go to his site. Look, he has over 10,000 comments. If you do not do your job and arrest somebody for this, you will not become our next senator. So he has a vested interest in doing what is
Is
right.
he the nutcase that's doing the
The
numbers?
nutchuck is, yes.
Video? And he's your Attorney General?
He is our Attorney General. So, welcome to my world.
What a nut.
So, all right, so now our Board of Supervisors has a blatant disregard for the rule of law, period. They have stonewalled the Senate until they finally, the AG stepped in and said, no, you will give that, because the Supreme Court said, no, you have to do that. So now he's come in and stated that. You know, they put policies in there which left these ballots unverifiable. So, one of the things that I'm going to do, okay, I said that I was a college professor. I actually taught anatomy and physiology. Republicans need something desperately. I happen to have taught anatomy and physiology, so I'm going to introduce the spine to them, all right, so that they understand. Two things I can promise you. Here's the problem. I am a West Texas redneck cowboy. Okay? Born and raised in Border, Texas. Actually went to Phillips, Texas, which no longer exists. I'm a dying breed of a Blackhawks. I moved 12 years ago to Phoenix, Arizona. I live in the hood. There's no question I live in the hood. I hear gunshots every night in my neighborhood. I have a ghetto bird that actually travels at night, lights up our backyards from time to time because of the crime that's going on. I'm a stone throws away from a park, which is now becoming a homeless encampment. We have next to it an elementary school, and so we have huge issues. My counterpart, the incumbent Democrat, lives in Scottsdale. And he's nowhere to be found in where I live. See, I'm very comfortable with the average person because that's what I am. I'm not special. I'm not anything else. God's actually called me into this. Now let me tell you, now I'll stop right here and I'll tell you my testimony. Why am I running? I was a part of a national football playoff team at Panhandle State University in Goodwill, Oklahoma. That was in 1981. I went to the game on Saturday and everything, and they got beat. But, that's what started 40 years ago. After we won or got beat in the national championship game, the coaching staff left. I went to Texas Tech University, and I was a defensive back for Texas Tech. I fractured my neck my senior year. And in doing so, I started having migraine headaches. Those migraine headaches increased in intensity and in frequency over the next 40 years. 8 years ago, I walked into Burroughs ER with a blood pressure of 248 over 198. Most 50-year-old men do not survive that. However, I was an NCAA basketball official as well. To give you a list of how much of a slacker I was a college professor. I was a curriculum developer over 5 different disciplines. I was a scuba diving instructor. I was an NCAA basketball official. I would also work with professional athletes, collegiate and high school athletes, deacon in my church, and I taught adult Sunday school classes. So that was the kind of slacker I was. 8 years ago, when I walked in, that started me a 5-year program of where they were trying to figure out where my migraines were coming, and I literally was pacing the floor and not sleeping for days on end. 3.5 years ago, I became 100% disabled. I literally could not read, write, do anything. I couldn't even be in this area here. The migraines, because of the light and everything else, was so intense that I could not function as a person, human being. So they put me 100% disabled. I spent the next 2.5 years either in bed, on a couch, or pacing the floor, and I would get 15 minutes of sleep when I would pass out, and the pain would then wake me back up, and that was my life for 2.5 years. I have medical documentation that states that it was this high. On December the 24th, I changed the prayer. Because I didn't curse God. I kept praising Him. But my on that night at 3:30 in the morning, I prayed, God, not my will. I don't want to live this life anymore. So if you have something better for me, you tell me, you show me. I will do that. I will walk in your path, whatever that is. Be careful what you do when you pray that, because he showed up. I will break your headaches. I will restore your health, and I'm sending you to Congress to represent my people. Now, in that, I have lost 70 pounds. I'm not working out. I still sleep an hour, 2 hours. I was used to 15, so that's a great time. So I don't require a lot of sleep anymore. The thing is that I have had a headache since December the 24th. Not a one. Now, I had COVID for 20 days. I lost 22 pounds during that. That helped drop the weight in itself. My wife and my campaign manager both got COVID from me, and they expressed having severe migraine headaches the whole time. I had every symptom but that. So I can honestly tell you, I have not had a migraine headache or any form of a headache since December the 24th. So when I say that God has called me to do this, what you have to do is you have to go look at the biblical aspect, right? When God shows up, is their life just a little bit? Do they have an epiphany and, you can't really tell? Or is it completely dramatically changed and altered and you have people that can verify, I saw you then and I saw you now and there's something that has changed. What was it? And so that's what I can tell you has happened to me. So when I met, was I running around and doing a whole lot on January 6th? I mean, I walked into McDonald's and we met and everything. But you need to understand, these things.
I didn't know you were that guy.
Yeah.
I'm the same guy.
You were a lot bigger.
A whole lot thinner. So, another verification of what had happened. And so with that, I now have a testimony. I can't even say this. Because of my good looks and charm, I became a congressman. Everybody will kind of go, I'm going to go over here while God deals with you and stuff. I can't. The only thing I can say is that Jesus Christ chose to use me as the vessel at this point in time for a time such as this. That's it. Okay, now here's how bad it is in Maricopa County. That's the ballot. That's the ballot that's right now being used to do in Maricopa County. Here's the other problem. 100% was mailed out to every voter in Maricopa County. 100%. Whether you wanted it, asked for it, or not, you got it. Guess how many phone calls I've received where houses have already found 12, 20 ballots come to them. They have no idea who they are, but they're coming to them. We got pictures that we're now sending out. So this is the actual one that I have. And you can see that I voted on the first page. I haven't voted on the second page yet, but I can already tell you that it's no, because the 4 issues are for the schools and they're asking for more money. They in Arizona get half of our budget, and now we're asking for 10 in one and 15 in the other, more money. I said no. Y'all are taking way too much money. Okay. Now there's a few things that I need you to look at. On the very top, there's a dot. I don't think this actually. No, it absorbs it. All right. So anyway, there's a dot. I'm going to pull these up here where y'all can see them. There's a few things on here that that I want you to pay attention to. One is the left side on this one. The right side, right side on this one, upper right or upper left on this one here, and then on this one, the left side as well. I'm gonna have y'all start understanding what you need to look at your ballots from this point forward. Here's what we found in Arizona. We only have one piece of paper that we are supposed to have that printed on. Guess what we found in the audit? 9 different pieces of paper that was used. 9 of them. Okay? All different types of paper. That's right. All different types. So we had things that were yellow in color, gray in color, pristine white in color. Okay? So we had all these different ones, and it was all these variances that we had. The texture was different. The weight of the paper was different. Every which way you can think about having a piece of paper and it being different, we had it. Had 9 different ones. Yes, ma'am.
So do you specify, or does the law specify what type of paper or the order? And
Yes.
also, is something printer right there in Arizona, doesn't he do a lot of the ballots?
They have one location where they do all the printing and everything else. However, we have, and I'll go through it there, but we had ghost votes. We had mail-in ballots that came in more than what they had mailed out. I mean, there's all kinds of variances in there that I'm going to cover. So one of the things what did I see? Okay, I told you that there was a circle right here that was on the upper right hand of the front. Okay, the upper left, we had a plus sign right there that we wanted to look at. And then when you put them together, they are supposed to line up. What we found in the Arizona audit was that plus was outside that circle. The most egregious one was 1,008% off dead center. That's how far it was outside of that. Why is that so important? Well, because if the front and back does not match, it's not coming off of our lawfully paper that our Senate and our House has said this is what you have to do. Okay? And so they keep them within some spectrum. And so this is one of the reasons why. So when we look at this even closer, that was the deal. Now this is me taking this off of the ballot I had, because this is not the actual ballots that we looked at there, because I don't have access to that. Remember, I only observed, and we had no video, no photographs or anything else. We always had to check all of our phones and stuff there, and the room was constantly swept for any device when we were dealing with that. So 24/7, it was always under surveillance, and it was always swept so that we had no other recording other than what was approved by the Senate, so nobody could get that. This came directly off the ballot that was mailed to me that I didn't ask for. Okay?
So you're saying that indicates that they were not printed at the official printing plant?
That's exactly what it means.
Because the front and back
We're not matched. We're not matched. So these are the 2 key things, front and back. And then what you want them to do is you want them to look like that. You want them to actually look where they matched up. And that's the reason why we have these on the sides of that, so that plus sign should match up with the lines around that circle. All of that should be the same. Okay? So now, here's the thing. You remember those black boxes that they had on the sides and everything else? Well, we want those to be nice and pristine and straight. Okay? That's what that is. That's a straight ballot. What I got was an official ballot. The reason why I can say that is because I'm showing you exactly what it was. Because the difference was what I saw on the audit floor, there were lines out here that was constantly being broken, and it wasn't a solid line. And then there was another line that would be drawn there that was different. So they were trying to get it to look like, but again, when you're in a hurry, think about this. Trump had a lead at 12 o'clock. okay, then everything's shut down. If you're going to cheat, you've got to find out how far you're behind. Okay? So then you start manufacturing all of these ballots as fast as you can. You don't have time to look at whether things are lining up because you don't have that much time. Here's the other thing that we need to go to. We need to go to one-day voting. When I go to Congress, here's the thing. I am going to make it a holiday for voting. You get the day off. If you have to work that day, you get a paid 2 hours to go vote. Here's the other thing. We're going to incentivize our sheriffs. Those sheriffs are going to be the ones that are going to harvest the ballots and stuff. They're going to go to the nursing homes. They're going to pick up those. Any person that has more ballots than what is inside their household, it is a felony. Okay? That's what I promise that I'm taking to Congress when I go, is this. We've got to sit down and we have to change what's taking place. We have 1 day of voting. That's what we need. Okay? Everybody good so far? Okay? Now, thing is, nice, tight, and there's no breaks in there for your ballot, and the way that this is all taking place. You kind of see it's still out of focus because my camera was just not really good.
Hey, who picks up ballots now?
Do what?
Who picks up ballots now?
Just about any Democrat that they can get their hands on. And they go to, what they're doing is they're ballot harvesting. They're going to nursing homes and stuff, and they're going, and they're literally, not in Texas. They are in Arizona. And they're taking them, and if they can find them where they haven't opened them or anything else, they'll just take them and say, we'll take care of it. And then more than likely they've been, opened, tampered with, and then mailed, probably not the way that person intended. Okay? So now, we had a big issue about signatures and what was taking place. So here on the envelope that you're supposed to mail back in. So I sat down and I folded that in. Now, here's one of the things that was really, really tough for anybody to explain. We opened up a box. On the outside of it, it said mail-in ballots. When we opened it up, they were pristine white and jet inked on both sides with no folds. Thousands of them. Okay? How do you mail a mail-in ballot with no folds and no tracing of it went through the mailing process? Okay? So, one of the things that we looked at here is that we see this is just the front of it. Again, this is what we have. Again, we have this. And it's a good attempt if it was something that would actually be of some type of purpose. See, they've got it there, and it looks really cool. And if y'all take your phones and you do the QR code and stuff, and it'll come up and stuff, and it just tells you that you can't find the number affiliated with that envelope. Well, the thing is, on the back portion of it, we have our signature. This is our signature right here. Nice, and I hadn't signed it yet, hadn't dated it, hadn't done anything. This was right before I left. Now it's signed, it's dated, and everything, and I've given it to my wife, and she's going to make sure that it goes to the poll because I'm going to be gone. So I don't get to go home for 3 weeks. I'm going to be on the road for 3 weeks doing this all over our country. And the information that I'm giving you is not anything that y'all have seen on the news, right? Okay? All y'all seen is that Trump Biden won, Trump lost. In fact, we even found more ballots to confirm that it wasn't 10,175 that he won Biden, but it's 11,400 and something. Well, okay. Any bankers in here? We got anybody finance people in here at all? Anybody balance a checking book? Checkbook? Okay. If you have more money going out than you have coming in, do you have a surplus? You've got a deficit? Okay. So one of the things is that we sit down and we look at this, and the problem that we're finding with these ballots and stuff are the fact that while this box is supposed to have a signature in there, when we first started, we had a 27-point signature. You had to have 27 points in order for that signature to be verified so that you could count that ballot. 3 weeks later, it was 13. 2 weeks later after that, it was 6. And a couple weeks after that, it was 0. Guess what happened after it went to 0? All the ones that had been kicked out, what happened to them? Now they were kicked back in and counted.
Who changed that?
That would be our wonderful Steve Richer, our county recorder, and our Secretary of State, Katie Hobbs. That's right. So one of the things is that for this, when we mail this in and everything, and everybody goes, gosh, you know, I have my name up there, I have my address up there. I have nothing to hide. If you want to know how I voted, ask me, I'll tell you. I have no problem telling you how I vote. Okay? If I have nothing to hide, then why is it that we go back and we're not holding our Board of Supervisors feet to the fire when they're having 77 attorneys constantly filing lawsuits to stop this? What do you have to hide? That's the whole thing that we're supposed to look at. How many's had an audit? Personal or business? Everybody had, you know, a lot of people here have had audits. It's a pain, but it's essential, right? Want to make sure that everything's on the up and up. Okay? Well, let's look at that little code right there. And like I said, when I pull it up, it should, if they really wanted to do something beneficial, wouldn't that code want to be the same code that I had on my ballot?
No,
You
you
think?
want it to be a hash. There's a better one.
There's a better way, but this is what they had. Now, here's the other thing. On that envelope, they have a barcode. Here's the problem that we had in 2020. Here's wait a minute. There's a spot right here that's blank. In 2020, it had an R, it had a D, and it had an I right there. If I was a postal worker and I didn't like Donald J. Trump, I would just kind of pull those out because every time I found a Republican, I figured that's how they're going to vote, so I'm going to pull those out. And that's why in Arizona we found ballots that were in boxes stuffed in the corner that we found later after the election had already been finished. This election, we don't have that. We still have a barcode though. What do you think's sitting there? The same thing. It's still sitting there. They just took the R and the D and the I out. Okay? But it's still there. Again, the whole purpose, if that code went to that code, you would attach a ballot to an envelope and you could carry it. The problem that we found is that we found all of these ballots, when they were separated, we had no way of tying them back to whose signature it was. And once they were lost, oh well, that's just the way it is. And went on. How much fraud can be perpetrated during that time? Yes, ma'am.
How do you solve the problem of people voting incompetent?
Well, that's where that watermark comes in. That's where we start making it where it's impossible for people to actually create false ballots and stuff. But one of these things is that we can, here's my solution. We don't have ballots at all. Does anybody even know about Bitcoin? Anybody heard about Bitcoin? Okay, there's Bitcoin there, and it also has, and it operates off of what is called a blockchain. Okay, that blockchain says that I'm an entity and I'm a human being, and my name is Jeff. Okay? You get on there and you say, I'm a human being, my name is Breck, and I know Breck, and I identify and I say, okay, that is a real person. He knows me, and he turns around and says, okay, Jeff's a real person, and now we've changed, and we've got a chain together. Now we go to the next person and the next person, and we know each other, and that starts to build where we know for sure. So if I create a bot, if a robot is then created, it's going to act like a robot, right? Can you start a program in nanoseconds? Yes. We don't. So we can do this, and we operate just like a human being would, and so that's what we do. We sit down, and then it says, well, I know Breck, I know Jeff, I know. We're going, no, we don't know you. We don't, and if enough people go, we don't know them, then that account is killed. That's a bot that's killed. And you can do that through blockchain. Here's the other thing. You want to shore this up very quickly? We have one day, and everybody, I don't care if you're in a nursing home or anything else, you can use your phone, you can use your computer. It can go on a secure website, and through a blockchain, they can't forge it. You do one day, and it's done. We can tally it in seconds and have who we want, if that's what we wanted. There. Now, here's the other thing that we can do. We can go back to, as a PC, I'm ultimately responsible for 125 people in Arizona. That means I have their number, their address, their email address, and I visit them. And I tell them what's going on. How about on the day of election, they come over to the house. They bring their ballots. I have the box sitting right there. That's locked. We have hamburgers, we have hot dogs, we have the kids come over, we have bouncy houses, we have a fun time during that day. And at the end, at 7 o'clock when the polls close, everybody's voted, they put their ballot in. I come in, open it up, and in front of 125 people who just voted, I count in front of them. You think there's transparency there? Now, once I'm done with that, we go down to our LD. Our LD has anywhere from 100 to about 150 at the max there of precinct committeemen, each one of them. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my box with my people that have come with me, and we're going to exchange boxes. And you're going to open yours, and I'm going to open mine, and I'm going to hand my box to you, and you're going to hand your box to me, and in front of each other, right by in the table, I count her ballot. She counts my ballot. We make a number right there, and we sign off on it. Is there transparency? Do we have an accurate count? Now, we lock them back up. Now, we all take it down to the precinct. We hand it to them with affidavits now, because those signatures and that piece of paper is now an affidavit. We go to prison now if we've lied, and it's something different. Then you sit down, and then they count those up. We can do this before 12 o'clock and have the result of the whole entire state, if you want to do it. If you truly want to get serious with it, there are ways to go about doing this, and I've just given you two. Okay? There's smarter people than I am that have better ideas, I think, that's out there. And tell your senators, tell your congressmen, vet these people out and make sure that they're going to represent you. We don't need another Biden in the House. Okay?
What you're saying up there was that you could not match envelopes to ballots.
You can't do that. You can't.
No way.
Those are different, and y'all can do. You can prove it now. You can get your vote code. It's not there.
There's like two differences I saw.
Well, they're different, they're completely different.
I look at ballots, the pictures of ballots.
Yeah.
They showed up, there's not a difference between the two.
Right.
Just possibly have enough, red and noise in there to do it.
That's right. So, a death by 1,000 cuts. Here's one way that they did this. They did this through duplication. We had 34,448 ballots that were counted. The only problem is 17,126 were the only ones that should have been counted. We had 17,322 that were counted that shouldn't have been. They were duplicates, they were triplicates, and they were quads.
Why were they duplicating ballots? Or were you talking about putting them in a Xerox machine and making a copy of it?
Oh, not even that. I'm going, as soon as I get done with this, I'm leaving to get on a plane. I'm heading to Georgia tomorrow morning. I'm going to be meeting with the House and the Senate down there. Those people had video.
Yeah.
They had video of them putting those things and running them through over and over and over. Why are they not the first domino? Why is it that Arizona's the first one? We didn't have the video.
Well, the audit report that I read, it wasn't real clear about it, but it said that they duplicated it if the ballot was torn or something and wouldn't go through the counting machine. And
Right.
They took it to a Xerox machine and made a Xerox copy and used that.
Okay. And what was the
report that they did that and they didn't always do it right.
Exactly. And the way that they're supposed to have done that is this. They were supposed to copy that. They were supposed to put a number on the one that was spoiled, and they were supposed to put the same number on the duplicated one so that it wouldn't be counted twice. What we found was that there were no numbers associated with it, but through our high definition photographs, we started finding identical patterns in there, small lines that were the same on these others. That's how we picked it up. So that we could match them and we could see these are two, and one's a carbon copy. That's how we found them, was through our forensics.
And were they uniformly Joe Biden votes or were they mixed?
Okay, so the way I answered this is it does not matter. Okay? It's not about Democrat, it's not about Republican. It's about what is right and wrong.
Amen.
And it's wrong what they did. And that's the bottom line of it. So I made allusion earlier, and I didn't finish it, was this. If I give you $1,000 and 400 of it is monopoly money, and you take it down to the bank, and you deposit that money, how much money are you going to have in the bank? Does it matter what it was? Those unverifiable monopoly monies are not going to be counted. So at this point, it doesn't matter. It's what's right and what is wrong.
But I'm still confused. The counting, are you able to identify those ballots and put them aside?
No, they won't do that. They just said everything still has to be counted as the same. Hence the reason why we still have, but the thing is, we counted 3 different ways. Okay? We had a hand count. If any of y'all saw the video, the lazy Susan that went around and around, and the thing is, we did what is called a triple blind study. If you know anything about research, the best thing that you can do is have a blind study. We had a triple blind, meaning that we had at 180 degrees, and at 90 of that 180, we had people that were sitting there, and so we would spin it around, and this is some of the things that took place. Now, I'm an observer, and I had people underneath me, and we escorted 27 people off the floor. Phase 4, you can't react when you see a ballot. You have to watch the ballot and you have to tally it. Do not have a reaction again. And they would keep doing it. initially, we said, we're sorry, but we'd really love to have you be a part of this. However, you're not being compliant with the rules at hand, and they were escorted off the premises and not allowed to come back onto the floor. We had some people that was put on a do not enter list. They had their picture and their name. In that vetting process of what I did, not only did I do your background check, I did a criminal background check on you. I also made sure that you were a voter inside of Maricopa County. Because you couldn't get inside there if you weren't a registered voter. And here's the thing, when I say that we had Democrats, we had independents, we had libertarians, we had Green Party, Tea Party, Patriot Party, we had Republicans. You're looking at the person who did it. So I can tell you 100% sure there were Democrats on the floor. Because they, unlike a lot of them, will sit down and say, I just want to know. I want to know that Biden won. Okay, I can deal with that. You count and you let Biden win. I've had people who said, I want Trump to win. Okay, that's not a problem. But if I look on your social media and you want to kill Trump or you want to kill Biden, you don't get on the floor. Okay? If you had a felony, you were not allowed, because one, felonies can't do what? Then they can't touch ballots. So we had a weeding out process. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm still confused.
Okay.
People came and they just said, I just want to know who won. And here you say you've got ballots that they aren't good ballots or they're duplicates or whatever, but the people still don't know who won.
That's because it's uncertifiable. It's unverifiable. I can't verify where some ballots came from, which means that in our
Because of the separation from the envelope, or why can't you verify that the
okay,
ballot is
because
not-
we have ballots that were printed on paper. There was 9 different types of paper that it was printed on.
Okay, but
That-
it's
and-
right there.
and-
And you have one type of official paper that it should, why is everything that is not printed on official ballots discarded?
Because we have tried and we keep losing in our democratic federal courts, and they prevent us. We don't have, and this is what you need to understand, we don't have standing. Everything that gets thrown out when they don't know what to do, it says that we do not have standing. I'm sorry, but if we, the people, want to find out what happened in an audit, we should be allowed to find out. And the very question you're asking should be answered, and it should be done. But it's not.
But what I also hear you saying is, hey, we know these ballots are not official, we know they're fake, call them whatever you want.
Right.
But you still have to count them.
Pretty much.
That doesn't make sense to me.
But a sane man in the insane world looks insane.
But why are we even bothering to audit if you cannot say these are fake?
Well, the thing is that we uncovered all of this. It goes to the Attorney General. He's the one who has the teeth. See, the thing is, and what a lot of people get lost in, is this. They want the Senate to be the judge, jury, and executioner. That's not the way our founding fathers set this up. We have 3 branches of government. Our first part of the government has done its job. The second part of this, which is our Attorney General, better do his job, or he's not going to be a senator. And the other is that if he drops the ball and everything else, then we're going to go after him to find out if he was corrupt, and he'll go down as well. See, the problem is here in Arizona, we're sick and tired of what's going on, and that's why I'm here in Texas. I don't want my Texas messed up. Okay, I've got one in the back
So
here.
if the Attorney General doesn't do his job, where do you go next?
Okay, so I am very privileged about being a congressional candidate. I get to be one-on-one with a lot of the new Attorney Generals. See, here's the other thing that Texas does, and a lot of states don't. The reason why Mark Brnovich is not running for Attorney General is because he's turned out. He can't be an Attorney General any longer. We have term limits. We have term limits in the House. We have term limits in the Senate. When they term out, they're gone, and they don't get to come back. So the thing is that what we've done, that's something that I'm also taking to Congress at the federal level. I am sick to death of 60 years of Feinstein. Are you kidding me? You got to get rid of that. 40 years or 50 years of Nancy Pelosi. The only reason why that lady doesn't die is because God doesn't want her. Okay, hold on. I got one more question.
Same thing with Biden.
Two questions. Has anybody been arrested in Arizona for committing fraud of something, and your Attorney General, let's say these 9 different pieces of paper, he knows there should only be one. Maybe he doesn't know who inserted those others. Is that good enough for him to say fraud has been committed, even if I don't know who did it?
Yes, and that is the short answer to it. Yes, we have presented it. It is evidence. He has to have it rise to the level of fraud. Once it rises to that level, arrests are going to be made. Now, here's what happened a week ago. He issued a subpoena to Katie Hobbs and to the Board of Supervisors that they have to maintain everything that they have. Here's the other thing, too, what we also discovered. There are a lot of issues when it comes to the Dominion machines, the spunk logs, and the routers. It tells us a lot. How many people have watched the Mike Lindell series, the 4 films that's taking place, okay? Now, here's the thing. Our white hat hackers, why we were so strategic in what we were doing in the Arizona audits, because we already knew what we were looking for. We just needed to go find it. And that's what we did. We went and found that evidence. And contrary to popular belief in our mainstream media and our fake news, we didn't manufacture anything. Trust me, I had people that were so good at writing up all of their information. You're looking at one who I will spend a long time in prison with the affidavits that I have already submitted if I lied. I'm willing to put my reputation on the line. Why aren't anybody else? So that's the difference. That's one thing. Everybody keeps saying, well, you are already representing us as we the people, and you're not even in Congress yet. What are you going to be when you get into Congress? Well, that's why I'm here. I'm trying to show you what the difference is for somebody who's serious about taking this up. I've never run for office in my life. My voting duty was to vote on the day that we were supposed to vote and go home. That's what I thought. That's not what I'm going to do now. Yes, sir.
Have you thought, once you get there into the House of Representatives, have you thought about what your answer is going to be when the death threats come to your family or for your family?
I have already told you how I was called into this. I'm more afraid of my Heavenly Father putting me on a couch and giving me back my headaches than I am with what's going to happen. I've already talked to my family, and they already know that if they come to get them, and that's the price we pay for our freedom, then I'm willing to lay down my life. No greater love of a man than be the one that will lay their life down for somebody else. And we've already made that commitment to do that. So I've already had that discussion, my wife and I, and everything else. Now, I will tell you this, if they want to take my son and daughter up, okay. No. Yes, ma'am.
And again, I appreciate your sincerity and all that, but you're talking about when I get to Congress, operating under an election system. Look how bad it's gone. What in the world makes you think that you're going to have an election that's going to be any different than this? They don't want you there.
Right. Okay, so what we're doing is that the three, Karen Vann, Sonny Borelli, Wendy Rogers, Okay? Now, that's on the Senate side. On the House side, I'm working with Walt Blackman. He's also running for Congress, but he right now is an elected House of Representatives in Arizona. Joseph Choclet and also Justin Wilmer. Those are the House representatives, and what we're doing is we're putting together an election integrity bills that are going to be done. Here's the thing, we don't have till next year an election to get this done. We have to have this done in 6 months. Okay? How are we going to do this? So we're already in the process of writing the laws, so when they go into session, it's going to be we had the 4th longest session in Arizona history, 171 days. Okay? We're going to have the shortest. The reason why is that it takes 90 days when you put a bill and it's passed to go into law. We need to have it done and in effect all of those voter integrity laws. Things like a voter ID. You cannot walk up and say, I want to vote, and you're handed a presidential Senate ballot. Okay? We're not doing those anymore. We're going to have a idea. Now, here's the thing. I have a nephew that was adopted in Kenya. We looked at Kenya. You know what they do? Not only do they have a voter ID that they have to present, they also have to put their thumbprint in there, and it stains their thumb for 2 weeks.
Yes.
How many people would be willing to have a thumbprint stained for 2 weeks to have voter integrity? Okay, nobody is sitting here going, oh gosh, you know, no, because then I sit down and go, thank you for voting, for expressing what our founding fathers had done. Yes, ma'am.
I was the first time judge for early voting, and didn't really want to do it, thrown into it, not trained as a judge. They threw me into a training that said, you won't have to worry about that, that's for the judges. And so I was kind of thrown into it, things got out of whack, I saw it, and then things switched. So there was issues with the machines. Yeah, so I don't know that I was just kind of a warm body. I'm not sure that, I have a lot of firsthand experience with that going wrong and not trusting that anymore.
Right.
So what advice do you have from your experience? I know that they're going to do an audit here in Dallas County. What kind of advice?
Okay, one of the things that and the reason why I'm here is this. Y'all are kind of going through a little bit of training, right? I want y'all to start where I left off. I don't want you to have to reinvent the wheel. So if any knowledge that I can give, all right? Now, one of the things is that with this, I'm willing, if you have people that would be interested in hearing this and going through this, or other people to go through. I'm covering a lot of information here. I'm willing to come back and to train and to help anybody that that will go in and do the audit here in Texas. Okay? Again, the whole idea behind this is that it's we the people. My rights come from God. It does not come from government. And for us to settle the way that we're settling and to allow this government to be out of control the way it is, shame on y'all. Okay? If we own it and we understand it, then we know how to fix it. Okay? I was raised in a household by the Word of God. My mom said that I wanted that she was going to raise me by the Holy Bible. So when I messed up, I got it right in the back of the head. So I was raised by the Holy Bible. All right? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I have a question about the Dominion machine, because here today, you must have been talking about paper ballots. So that part of the audit did Dominion machines play? And then also, Lindell is talking right now about how Dominion is going around doing updates to the machines. And so how did you prevent that? And did that happen in Arizona?
Okay. One of the things is that I can't tell you, and the reason why is because we still haven't received the spunk logs, the routers, or the Dominion machines. So I'm going to show you a slide here in a minute where all that's blank, because they still haven't done that. Now, one of the things I want to go ahead and get started with the signatures here, because again, I was alluding to 27, then it went down to 13 or 12, and then went to 6, and then went to none. And the different types of signatures was a clear signature. One was blank. One was where it was likely it kind of showed impressions and stuff. And then we had what was called scribbles. Now, the problem that we had when we looked at all of these different duplicates, when we found those 1,259 more ballots for Biden, woo, yeah, we got it. Okay, everybody's all saying that. Okay, problem is that 17,322 were ballots that were duplicated. You take those away, who were they voting for? I don't know and I don't care, but it's greater than the margin of what was done. We need to not decertify, we need to nullify it, and let's do it again and do it without the Smartmatic. See, y'all got snookered. Y'all have Smartmatic for y'all's
Yes.
machines. It's the same thing, people.
Yep.
So when we look at this, and we look at these signatures, we came across signatures, and then we started coming across something very, very unusual. We have the sleight of hand. If you notice, here it says verified and approved, okay, Maricopa County ballot right here, and it was stamped. The only problem is that how did it get under the box?
You know, I had heard that was under, but what I wasn't sure of, is it the verified or is it actually the printing that was the original printing?
Okay, here's and the reason why they kept saying, oh, it's a photocopy and everything else. Okay, let's identify. Let's look really close here.
Yeah.
How is it that it says that it's verified and the A proved right there is under, but the O is on top of the corner? Let's look at the one down below. How is it on top of all the letters underneath, but on top of the line in the box? If it was truly a carbon copy, it would have done that for all of them, right? How is it that it's doing it for one and not the others? Because they were printed that way. Again, here it is underneath the box and on top of the corner. We have it where the approved MCT, which is MedTech, it's approved there. That's our center that does it. How is it that the verified is on top of the letters, goes underneath the box, and then is on top of the other box there? Again, when they start saying, oh, this is photocopied and everything else, it would have done it exactly the same way. It wouldn't have done it for one part and then the other part.
What is the triangle thing?
The triangle is the area. Okay, so let's go back real quick.
It's supposed to be.
Now you see the difference? Now I need to add another slide.
If they stamp on it, or they're supposed to stamp that?
After they verify my signature, when I send my signature in, they're supposed to verify it. Once they verify it. Now here's what we do in Maricopa County. Yeah, they have a person and they
So if
stamp
the
it.
ink was black on that, and the ink was black in that triangle, then the letter's not going to show up, right? It's going to look like
It should. But a lot of them were no colors at all. This one happens to be colored in, but there's others that had no color at all. So when we sit and we look at what was taking place here, what happened was, and here's that part that I was telling you about the Dominion machines. If you start looking right here, voting machines, NA, we don't have anything because they didn't give us anything so that we could examine it. So it's sitting there dormant. See, the thing is that everybody thinks that report that the Senate sent out was the final report. It's just the beginning. Everybody everybody says that we're at the end of the audit, we're at the beginning. Okay? The fight's coming on. Here's the thing, the Democrats made it very, very clear. Show us the report, we'll see you in court. We had no idea what we were going to find, but that's exactly what they said on day one. Show us the report, we'll see you in court. So these are things that were taking place. We had just mail-in ballot voters from prior addresses, other addresses. We had 23,344 of them come in from other addresses. Take that away, that's greater than the 11,000 that we had, right? Okay, go down to the next one, 10,342. Not more, but it's very close. Take those votes away.
Runoff.
What's the 10,000?
Those are potential voters that voted in multiple counties.
Was that the voters that had exactly the same first name, middle name, last name, and birthday in 2 or 3 different counties?
Yep.
10,000.
Yep. Yeah. That's where we got. And then we had 9,041 ballots that came back that were mailed out. So the Secretary of State mailed out the ballots, and then magically we had 9,041 of them come back that more than what they had mailed out. I don't know who they voted for. I don't know. They're all shuffled in. They could have all been for Trump. I don't know, but they're not verifiable. That's the problem. Yes, ma'am.
I've got an off-the-wall question, but it's important to me because I know that at the polls, we really need people at the polls.
Yes, you do.
And with that, I will let you know that I'm temporarily staying in a different county from where I'm registered to vote. And with my car, high mileage, I'm on permanent disability, excuse me. But with that I can't travel to Dallas County, I'm in Collin County. So how can I get it where I could, work at the polls, or could I just not work at the polls until I get transferred back to my location?
Okay, I got a chair here. Y'all know how to answer that?
Come on now. Basically, first of all, please poll watch. There's a class, something conflict to me. If you want to write that email address, I'm in Collin County. Okay, I'm in Collin County, so anybody in Collin County, I can set you up to get into a class. Be a poll watcher. You do not want to be a clerk. Clerk does not make any decisions. You want to be the presiding election judge, and nobody's going to be that without lots of elections and training. A poll watcher in Texas has teeth. We are allowed to watch 100% of everything. We actually sign ballots. Not that we don't touch a ballot. But at the end of the day, when we do the machines and validate and count everything, we touch, our signatures go on it.
Okay,
So we're going to look.
Is it okay if I'm registered to vote in Dallas County?
You don't care where you live to be a poll watcher.
Okay.
So here's my email address. I'm in Collin County. Anybody want it?
Okay.
I'll get you hooked up. Precinct 119 at CollinCountyGOP.net.
We'll talk afterwards and I'll get that information back.
All right, yeah, we can do it. Yes,
Are
ma'am.
they looking also at the canvassing on it for?
Oh, absolutely. Liz Harrison, what she's doing is great and stuff. And so these are things that where all of that, we had 193,000 votes that came in off of canvassing. We had one that had over 500 votes at one house. Over 500 votes came out of one house. Okay? So the thing is that what we need to do, and what we're doing as precinct committeemen is we're knocking on the doors and we're finding out. And we have, and I can pull up a list of everybody who votes in a single house. And I can walk up to them and I can say, is such and such live here? Why, no, okay. And I make a note of it. Does such and such live here? No, they don't. A lot of them are rental houses. Okay, and so a number of people will be there. Well, they're not cleaning up their rolls. One of the things that the AG is looking at right now is a simple fact of, did you clean up your rolls? It's a very simple thing to do. So here's another egregious thing. Here's where we have video. We have video of 3 people who deleted files. A lot of people don't even know that. Not only did they have it in MedTech, when we were sitting there, we have the time stamp, the date stamp, and it matches with our deleted files. Each one of them is supposed to be a 25-year sentence, and they've got hundreds of thousands, over half, have been done. So here's the margins. I want everybody to understand. Let's look at it a different way. Okay, completed ballot or corrupted ballot images, 13%, almost 14%. Okay, we had ballots lacking received entry records, meaning that they had more that went out, and then, came back that went out. 12%. We had ballots that were illegal provenance. We had, meaning that the residence was illegal there. We had, they were illegally photographed. We had 1.6 voters, votes were missing. That's a fun thing. You tried to vote and your vote didn't get counted at all. You don't know where it's at. Okay, we had that. Everywhere where one of those checks are at is greater than the margin of what Biden beat Trump in Arizona. Now, let me give you another idea. See how wide all of these are? The red in there? That's the margin between Biden and Trump right there. That's a visual expression of exactly what that difference is there. Look at how wide those are. And then we got 0.04% is what it was. Yes, sir.
How do you stop dead people from voting?
That's a great question, because I actually went to the graveyard and I found a sign that said that Democrats were voting.
The Democrats send people out to the cemetery to take names down, and some people, I have a friend, her mother passed away 20 years ago, and she voted.
Yeah, and that's what you gotta do. You gotta go back and look at your relatives and make sure that they're, because they're restless spirits and they're running around and stuff. And so, that's one of the things that I want to make sure that people understand. That's the margin of error right there. That's the difference. Now, again, we went through the plan, okay? BNHC here, right? Run for school boards, run for county offices, run for legislative at the state, run at the federal. Do what I'm doing. Don't let me be the only person here that's going around the country expressing a concern for our country. Because guess what? If we do not do anything, nothing's going to get done. It's up to you to be the difference. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to ask, I know that Arizona hired cyber ninjas. Was it the Senate that decided to hire, was it a committee that was formed to hire cyber ninjas? And how did that come about? Because we're in a position now in Texas where we haven't found an auditing firm yet.
Right.
And it appears that our Secretary of State's office is going to determine that, not each individual county. It's appearing that way anyway right now. And it looks like our Senate never actually voted to do the audit. It looks like the Secretary of State jumped out in front of it and decided to do it. And by the way, she is now no longer there. So now we have an Assistant Secretary of State running the show. So everything's kind of up in the air. And I just want to make sure we have an independent auditing firm. Mm-hmm. And how do we go about finding someone?
Okay, well, we're the very first one that ever did a forensic audit in the United States history. Never has there. There's no yellow book page that you can go and go forensic audit. Okay, we've got all these lists of people. There's one. Cyber Ninja is the only one in the world that can do that and stuff. So one of the things is that I know that y'all had other things to do than do this. I appreciate the fact that y'all came out and to listen to this. Hopefully this has been beneficial for you. Hopefully you've gotten something out of it and everything. I will tell you this, that my website is there. I'm in a fight in the congressional district. It is a plus 24 Democratic district. There's not been a Republican that's sat in that seat for 22 years. God's already told me that I'm going to be that person who's going to unseat him. But here's the reality. I need y'all's help. They've already stated, the Democratic Party, they're going to put $100 million into Maricopa County by itself. They're going to designate $20 million in my campaign. Here's the thing. I don't need $20 million. I don't. I come and I talk to people here. If you like what you have, here's what I'm asking you to do. $20.22 for 100,000 people gives me $1.8 million. Guess what Ruben Gallego had last year? $1.8 million for 3 entities. George Soros, Clinton Foundation, Planned Parenthood. If you want Ruben to stay in that position, then do nothing. If you can help me in any way, and if those have blessed you more than you can possibly imagine and give more, then please do that. Because I'm not a person that's going to just foolishly spend money. I'm a sniper. I've never served my country, but I am a sniper, and I understand strategically how to take him down, and it's through the truth and the Word of God.
We go to your website and
You can go to my website and contribute. Yes, ma'am.
You had all different parties in the audit. What was the thoughts when it was finished, as far as say the Democrats, Libertarians, whatever? Were they satisfied with it? Are they on the bandwagon to get it nullified or decertified or what?
So your question is other ones besides the Republican Party, were they on board to try to do that? They when they come out and they do that, they are shamed and hit very hard by the Democratic Party. So what we've got to do is we've got to pray for the strength and the backbone to set down. Trust me, I get death threats on a daily basis now. That's just part of what I have to face now. The other is that I'm not going to be intimidated by man. There are a lot of people that are going to get, and they'll say one thing and then say another. What we've got to do is we've got, now that you have the true story, you now have it, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to go out and you're going to tell people, are you going to make sure that this information gets out? Ajwan.
Okay, so we had talked about getting some sort of bill or something going into, for the state of Texas. You mentioned the smart Matic software, how there needs to be something that, like, basically what can we do now to help our 22 election?
Okay. One of the things that you're going to have to do is you're going to have and talk to your House of Representatives. They create law. Okay? All houses create law. Your Senate enforces it. They need to get in and get out as quickly as possible. It needs to be a short session. So there's a few things that need to take place. Okay? First and foremost, you need to take away from the governor the right to call a special session. It needs to be given to the President of the Senate. She should be able, or he should be able to, at any time, create a special session when needed. The second is that the House is the one who's going to create the laws. We need to stop our governors and our presidents from doing executive orders. That's going around our legislative branch, and it's unconstitutional. They can't do it.
We got a problem.
What's this?
We got Rhino running the House. Anything that comes, we want it the way it is right now. I'm sorry, because we have a Rhino running the House.
Right.
So it's not going to happen.
Right.
So we need the governor right now.
In order to do it.
Right, today.
And the thing is that then what you need to do is you need to make sure that the people that you vet out to represent you truly represent you and stuff. And this is not for the faint of heart. Trust me. My wife and I have sat and gone, why? Why would an old, white, Christian, straight male that makes every liberal head explode and Democrats explode, why would you get into politics when you've never been into politics before. It's only because God's making you. Yes, ma'am.
A couple of things, so as far as what we can do for 2022, special session ends the 19th. Call Abbott. We've got to restore the felony penalty for voter fraud.
Right.
They have reduced it to a misdemeanor. And so the other thing is for the Collin County guy. Are you talking to your precinct chairs about getting out and voting on November 2nd? We have a constitutional amendment that would allow people, Dallas County people or any county, determine what is infrastructure, what is transportation, what's underserved. I just don't hear people saying, get your asses out and vote, because this it would be in our Constitution.
Everybody vote yes for everything.
No, you vote no for number 2.
Oh, 2.
No, but we're second usually, but no on 2, because that would allow the county to they illegal immigrants are infrastructure according to Biden. You're going to let Clay Jenkins define infrastructure? So please call Abbott, write Abbott, call the 19th is the end of the special section. We need to restore that felony. Otherwise, don't just go home and drink, because we won't. It doesn't matter. There's no crime for cheating.
You've got to act. You've got to do things, and we have a very short period of time to save our country, and that's it. And that's the bottom line. So we've got to be very proactive and understand the situation we're in. The thing is that how many people are praying for Biden? Okay. All right. Here, let me help you with this. Okay? As an ordained minister, it's very important that we pray for our president. And we have a Bible that tells us how to pray. See, the thing is that when Saul was told by the prophet that he had to give up his kingship, and he went to try to kill David, David, on Psalms 109:8, prayed this prayer: let his days be few, and he be replaced by another. Y'all need to start praying for Biden in that way. Let his days be few, and he be replaced by another. Okay? Psalms 109:8. 109:8. The thing that I can only say is that, like I said, on January 6th, I went to go support my president because I thought that something had happened. By the time I got finished with this audit, I know something happened. You now know that something happened. I appreciate your time. I thank you for y'all being here and coming. And I can't express that enough.
I think suggestions, if you're available, we only have a room till 3. They're very nice to stay on, but
Yeah, and the fact is I've got a plane I've got to catch. So I'm going to end up having to go here quick. Yeah, we can. I can stay for about 20 minutes and answer questions and stuff like that. And we kind of got to give up the room, as she stated. And then outside of that, I'm more than happy to, but I've already got 20 minutes and I got a plane I got to catch. I'm going to Georgia to help
there's a table by the back door. You can have it sign and put your information down so that if you want to go whatever, I appreciate it.
Yeah, but what do we need to do with chairs?
This should be so
What do we need to do?
kind of weird. Something's wrong with that guy. He has my info though. He has my number. I'm sure it's on the list. We all go to the Mexican restaurant. The address had church in it. There was a sign. It's pretty good. He's still paying $1,000 now. So I guess I might fall down here. I'm sorry. I go out all the morning for all of this stuff. About 30 minutes. Yeah, I work in downtown Dallas. All over, but the office is there. I do high-rise window.